Hello everyone. I'm excited to share how I successfully started a tax-free company in the United States, even though I don't live there. If I could do it, you definitely can too. Stick around until the end of the video because I'll share how you can get everything done by just one consultant, with a link in the description. Plus, I'll reveal how I opened extra accounts at Bank of America and Chase, and show you how to get US credit cards even if you're not a US citizen. There's a link in the description for that as well. So, why did I decide to start a company in the United States? First, if you don't conduct business within the US, your company can operate tax-free. This means no federal income tax, which has saved me a significant amount of money. Plus, if your company is tax-free, you're not required to maintain detailed books, making it easier to manage your business. Trust me, it's been a game changer for me. The US also offers a stable and transparent legal system, strong protections for intellectual property, and the prestige of having an American company, which has definitely enhanced my brand's credibility on the global stage. These factors made the US an attractive option for me, and I'm sure they will for you too. When I was setting up my company, I had to choose the right business structure. Here's what I learned. LLC, Limited Liability Company. This is what I chose for my business. An LLC offers flexibility in management and pass-through taxation, meaning the company itself isn't taxed. Instead, the profits are passed through to the owners and taxed on their personal income. The key benefit is that it limits your personal liability, protecting your personal assets from any business debts or lawsuits. It was the perfect choice for me, and could be for you as well. C-Corp, C Corporation. If you're planning to raise capital through the sale of stock, this might be your go-to. Unlike an LLC, a C-Corp is a separate legal entity and is taxed separately from its owners. While this means the company itself pays taxes, it also opens up the potential for attracting investors by issuing shares. However, keep in mind that C-Corp are subject to double taxation, once on the company's profits and again on the dividends paid to shareholders. S-Corp, S Corporation. This structure is similar to a C-Corp but offers pass-through taxation like an LLC. However, there are stricter requirements for qualifying as an S-Corp, such as limits on the number of shareholders and types of shareholders allowed. Choosing the right structure depends on your business goals, the level of liability protection you need, and your tax preferences. For me, the LLC was the best choice, and it might be the same for you. So how did I set up my US company from abroad? I used a company that specializes in setting up businesses or selling shelf companies. A shelf company is a pre-existing company that's already been registered but hasn't conducted any business. This saved me a lot of time, as the company was ready to go with minimal setup required. If you prefer to start from scratch, here's what you need to do. The process typically involves registering your company in a US state, with Delaware and Wyoming being popular choices due to their business-friendly laws. You'll need to file the Articles of Organization for an LLC or Articles of Incorporation for a C-Corp. Choose a registered agent to handle legal documents on your behalf and pay the necessary filing fees. I used a service that handled all these steps for me, and I'll leave a link in the description to that service. With the help of the links provided, you'll find this process straightforward. Once my company was registered, the next crucial step was to obtain an EIN or Employer Identification Number. This is like a social security number for your business and is required to open a US bank account, hire employees, and file taxes. You can apply for an EIN online through the IRS website. But I found the process a bit complex, especially since I'm not a US citizen or resident. Luckily, the service I mentioned earlier assisted me with this, and I'll provide a link to that in the description below. With the right help, this step becomes much easier. Opening a US bank account was one of the more challenging parts of this process for me, especially since I wasn't physically in the United States. Some banks do allow remote account opening, but they typically require you to provide a copy of your passport, proof of address, and sometimes a reference from another bank. In some cases, you might also need an ITN or Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, especially if you plan to apply for credit cards or need access to certain banking services. There are banks that specialize in working with international clients and offer remote account opening. However, these banks may charge higher fees or have stricter requirements. I'll leave more details in the description about which banks I considered and what documents I provided. With the resources linked below, you'll be able to navigate these challenges smoothly. Of course, there are challenges involved in setting up a US company from abroad, and I faced my fair share. One of the main challenges is compliance, ensuring that your company remains compliant with US regulations. This includes filing annual reports, maintaining a registered agent, and staying up to date with any changes in the law. With the links provided, you'll have access to the support needed to keep everything in order. Another challenge was the initial setup and paperwork. I had to provide multiple forms of identification, notarize documents, and deal with delays in processing times due to being overseas. It's essential to keep in mind that while your company may be tax-free, there are still filing requirements to confirm your non-taxable status. With the help of the services I've linked, these steps will be much simpler. Once your company is up and running, managing it from abroad is the next step. For me, this involved hiring a US-based accountant and using online services to handle tax filings and compliance requirements. Tools like cloud accounting software have been incredibly useful in keeping track of finances and ensuring that everything is in order. With the right guidance, managing your company from afar becomes much easier. For those managing their companies from a distance, maintaining communication with US clients, suppliers, or partners can be challenging but essential. I use virtual offices and mail forwarding services to maintain a US presence and video conferencing tools to stay connected. Let's talk about some common mistakes I almost made so you can avoid them. One major mistake is not understanding the tax implications of your business structure. While the US offers the potential for tax-free operation, this only applies if you don't conduct business within the US itself. If you do, you could be subject to federal, state, and even local taxes. With the guidance provided, you'll be well prepared to avoid this pitfall. Another mistake is neglecting compliance. Even though my company is tax-free, I still needed to file the necessary paperwork to confirm this status. Failing to do so could result in penalties or even the dissolution of your company. With the help available through the links, you'll stay on top of these requirements. Lastly, don't overlook the importance of having the right documentation when opening a bank account. Not all banks have the same requirements, so it's essential to do your research or work with a service that understands the process. I'll share the service I used in the description below. With the right information, this step will be much smoother. And that's it. Starting a tax-free company in the US was a great decision for me, and it can be for you too. It requires careful planning and understanding of the process, but it's definitely achievable. Don't forget to check the description for links to the resources I mentioned, including how to get credit cards in the US as a non-US citizen and how to get everything done by one consultant. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.